Hello and welcome once again to the NBSDA Youth Service for July of 2020. Welcome. Tonight we're not live, we're premiering. Basically what this means is that this was recorded ahead of time, but we're airing it at a specific time so we can all watch it together while also having the chat running. Think of it as a Facebook watch party, but this is the first time that this is being aired. That is if you're actually watching it on the 25th at 8 p.m., at which point, if you're watching elsewhere, it's just a recording. But that's okay. This is something that I needed to do because I've been running into a lot of little glitches here and there with the live stream, and while I wanted to do it live because of the chat, it just wasn't feasible to keep taking these risks. One of these days, I was gonna crash live and I wasn't gonna be able to bring it up, and then that was it. And so to get around this, what I would do is that I would record two versions, which just took a lot out of me. So this month I found out about premieres in YouTube. So that's what we're gonna be doing, at least for now. Let me know what you think. So yeah, I can't see what you guys are saying because I'm on Monday still. But I should be presently in the chat saying hi. In fact, say hi, future me or present me or however you guys want to say it. Did he say hi? I have no idea because I'm on Monday still. So yeah, with that said, tonight we're going to start by praying for these 3 points. First of all, states with increase in cases. Secondly, for protection of tourists in places like Florida. And lastly, wisdom for our leaders. And with that said, let us bow our heads. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for you are good and you have blessed us here in Connecticut. I've been following the stats and the cases for COVID-19 are at an all-time low, struggling between 0.6% and 1%, which is great numbers. However, while we've seen such good blessings, other states are seeing very high increases. And so we ask you, Lord, that you take these states into your healing hands and you protect the people that are living in it, that they too might be able to worship and glorify your name, for you are good and you take care of us, Lord. Secondly, for those who are traveling into a state with those problems, these tourists who, after months of being cooped up in quarantine, are just trying to go out with your family and make some good memories. We ask you that you send an angel to protect them, Lord, so that when they return home, they'll have nothing but good memories to share with everybody. And lastly, we ask once again for the leaders of this nation who need to make the hard decisions about reopening and what they can or can't do. It's not an easy task, and no matter what they decide, there'll be many people who disagree. So, Lord, give them your wisdom that they might make what is best for everybody, and that the people blessed might glorify your name. Again, it's a tough job. No matter what you do, half the country is going to be upset, but Lord, help them make those right choices. And we ask you all of this in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. So, now we're going to jump right into the devotional. Every 4 years, we go through a global tradition as old as time. I'm of course talking about the Olympics. This year, the Olympics were set to take place in the city of Tokyo, Japan, and were set to run from July 24th to August 9th. Now, of course, they were in fact canceled due to the pandemic, but had they not been canceled, they would have started this very same weekend. Now, did you know that the Olympics were mentioned in the Bible? If we turn to 1 Corinthians 9:24, we will find the following passage, which reads, "Do you not know that those who run in a race all run, but one receives the prize? Run in such a way that you may obtain it. And everyone who competes for the prize is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a perishable crown, but we for an imperishable crown. Therefore, I run thus, not with uncertainty, thus I fight not as one who beats the air, but I discipline my body, and I bring it into subjection, lest when I have preached to others, I myself should become disqualified." While that passage may not sound like it, it is actually making a reference to the ancient Olympic Games. To understand exactly how, we must first go back in time to the origins of the Olympic Games. It is believed the first Olympics started in the year 776 BC. The Olympic Games were a series of athletic competitions among representatives of city-states of ancient Greece. They were held in honor of Zeus, the Greek god of thunder, and oftentimes had sacrifices offered to the idols. The Olympics were held every 4 years, or an Olympiad, a name chosen to describe the time period. They were so successful that the Greeks traveled all over the country to take part of the festivities. In fact, a temporary truce will be signed so that all traveling to the games could do so safely and legally. Even after the Greek Empire fell and the Roman Empire took over, the Olympic Games continued to be held. That is until the year 393 AD, when Emperor Theodosius ended them in an effort to impose Christianity as the state religion of Rome. Wow. Now, while they did last, the ancient... Oh, I'm too close to the border. Boop, boop. Now, while they did last, the ancient Olympics featured games such as running, horse racing, boxing... Running, horse racing, boxing, wrestling, and a pentathlon, which was composed of 5 consecutive events: running, long jump, discus throw, javelin throw, and wrestling. In the end, the victors were offered an olive leaf wreaths or crowns. This is why 1 Corinthians 9:25 talks about competing for a perishable crown. The winners were literally granted a very fragile and easily compostable crown. Now we have much more context as to why verse 24 speaks of running and why verse 26 mentions fighting, two of the main events at the of competitions at the games. The Olympic Games were so ancient that they started before the New Testament and lasted long after. Since the Kingdom of Israel was under the Roman rule during the New Testament, the Olympic Games were common knowledge to the people of Corinth, to whom Paul was addressing in his letter. He used a pop culture reference in order to more easily convey a message of salvation. Paul understood that sports as an analogy were a great way to teach the common folk. Now, if the Olympics ended in the year 393 AD, why do we still celebrate them today? Well, in 1894, a French historian named Baron Pierre de Coubertin founded the International Olympic Committee. Hey, I actually practiced saying that name many times. Baron Pierre de Coubertin. I hope I said it right. I tried. I'm not French. Anyways, Baron Pierre de Coubertin founded the International Olympic Committee, which led them hosting the very first modern Olympic Games at Athens, Greece, just 2 years later, so 1986. Nowadays, the Olympics host 306 events with 11,238 competitors from 206 nations. The games are also hosted in different countries each time, and the athletes compete for medals made of gold, silver, and bronze. A much bigger scale than the original games in Athens, Greece. Gold, silver, bronze. What do these metals sound familiar? They reminded me of something, but I can't quite put my finger on it. Well, I don't know. Continuing on. How does one actually get into the Olympic Games? Well, training and discipline. It's no secret that the Olympian athletes train, but exactly how much do they train? Well, 1 Corinthians 9:27 say, "But I discipline my body and bring it to subjection, lest when I have preached to others, I myself should become disqualified." The average Olympian trains 20 to 30 hours a week. For some reason, I thought it would be more than that. But the thing is, Olympians keep a balance in order to avoid fatigue or burnout. They also change their workouts. They'll alternate between a light workout, a medium workout, and an intense workout, as well as which muscles their workouts focus on. This allows their bodies to be constantly strengthened without ever hitting that wall. Another big part of an Olympian Olympians' preparation is, of course, nutrition. The athletes know that if they want to go for the gold, they can't just put anything into their bodies. What they eat must be of good quality, nutrient-dense food that nourishes them during training. A lot of fruit, vegetables, and protein. And, of course, plenty of water. Equally important to what they eat is what they must avoid. Too much salt can leave you feeling sluggish and is bad for blood pressure. Too much sugar and processed foods will make your energy crash and may also cause lack of sleep. Empty calories such as prepackaged snacks can also give you lack of sleep. Alcohol is essentially just empty calories with no nutritional values, which on top of that can dehydrate the body, so avoid alcohol at all costs. This brings us to rest. Last month, I mentioned all the benefits of rest, which among many others include better productivity and concentration, and calorie regulation, greater athletic performance. Resting also helps heal the body and restore the muscles and put energy back into the system. All Olympic athletes know this. Sleep is essential. They can't cut their sleeping hours if they want to be at their physical peak. Exercise, nutrition, temperance, rest. Olympians seem to be following the laws of health. Granted, we only mentioned 4 of them. Then again, water and hydration are part of their nutrition, and air and sunshine is part of their exercise since most of them run outside or ride their bike outdoors. So we're looking at 7 of the 8 laws of health. Now. Today may be Health Ministry Sabbath, but that is not what I'm discussing today. Maybe next time, not right now. 1 Timothy 6:11-12 says, "But you, O man of God, flee these things, and pursue righteousness, godliness, faith, love, patience, gentleness. Fight the good fight of faith. Lay hold on eternal life, to which you were also called, and have confessed the good confession in the presence of many witnesses." So, where am I going with this? Much like Paul, the point wasn't just to talk about the Olympic Games. Granted, I did have a lot of fun researching and writing this message. But no, Paul is using this as an analogy for salvation. Paul is telling the people of Corinth that athletes train and discipline themselves rigorously because their mind is focused on winning that crown and title. A crown that can only go to one person competing, the winner. Once obtained, the crown will quickly wither away, and all that will remain is the title. Jesus Christ died for each and every one of us so that we may be saved if we so choose to accept his sacrifice. So Paul is saying that much like the athletes go all in training for the title, we should go all in for Jesus, training ourselves daily in the spiritual matters, abstaining from all things that can negatively affect our faith, and living the Christian life as if we want to come in first, running ahead of the pack, fighting to take down trials. Unlike the Olympic crown, we can all partake in the kingdom of heaven. 2 Timothy 4:7 says, "I have fought the good fight, I have finished the race, I have kept the faith. Finally, there is laid up for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will give to me on that day. And not to me only, but also to all who have loved his appearing." Brothers and sisters, if we fight the good fight, and if we finish the race, the Lord himself will give us our crown of righteousness. With that said, let us bow our head for a closing prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you because you are so merciful and so loving that you sent your Son to come down for us and pay the price. And because of that, now all of us can partake in that kingdom of heaven. We can all obtain that crown of righteousness if we just buckle down and focus. If we make these necessary sacrifices, much like the Olympians know that they're only giving up a little bit for a lifetime of recognition, we too are also only to give up small aspects of our lives so that we might obtain eternal life in heaven. So we ask that everybody watching might understand this and might do what is necessary to put their bodies into discipline so that we too might be up there with you someday in the kingdom of heaven. Also now, as Sabbath is coming to a close, we thank you, Lord, that you have given us rest, a day to just cease from all the activities and just spend time with you, Lord. So we thank you for being given this opportunity, and we ask you that you bless us throughout the rest of the week. We ask you this not through our own righteousness, because we are as filthy rags, but instead through the sacrifice made by your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. All right, well, that concludes tonight's devotional. I'll take this off. Take that off. And this brings us into sharing time. Now, once again, I'm going to go very quickly to the rundown. Share time is a time where we can get to share many things, such as testimonials, prayer requests, talk about our lives, showcase our talents, discuss current events, and of course, memes. If you have any testimonies or prayer requests you wish to share, leave them in the chat and I will read them in due time. If you wish to share how your month went or just that one special thing that stood out to you, go ahead. Testimonies don't just have to be miraculous. As always, this is a point that I stress out. We oftentimes think that a testimony has to be this like Superman type rescue that God did for us. It doesn't have to be like that. It can be the little things. Now, if you'd like to share a talent, let me know ahead of time so I can include it in next month's service, local or live stream. We don't know yet. Well, we're not doing live streams this month. This is a premiere. But yeah, I don't want to be a pessimist, but it's starting to look like for the rest of this year, it's all going to be digital. Now, who knows? Maybe a miracle will happen. But it looks like we might have to go digital in the long run, and that is definitely what I'm focusing on. So yeah, if you want to showcase a talent, let me know ahead of time. You have to send me a video so I can put it on these things. So that's just, it is what it is. Welcome to 2020, folks. Oh, and with that said, we're going right into July news. Where are my July news? They're right here. July news. Ooh, Chad's Chop is shut down. It sounds like a little racing. Chad's Chop shut down. Anyways, on June 8th of 2020, protesters occupied 6 blocks of the Capitol Hill neighborhood in Seattle, Washington. They self-declared it an autonomous zone, which led to the name CHAZ, or Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. Of course, later the name was changed to SHOP, or Capitol Hill Organized Protest. The occupation lasted almost a whole month, until the mayor ordered it cleared on July 1st, 2020. The protesters were demanding that the city cut funds from police by half and distribute the other half into community efforts. They also demanded that they would not be charged with crimes for the protest. After a month of negotiating and several crimes such as vandalism, rapes, theft, and shootings, the mayor issued an executive order to clear that area. So yeah, this was definitely a very interesting story. It's not every day that protesters seize land. I mean, I know that I think with Ted Bundy it had happened, but that was a very small group, and it was for like a very small cabin. This was 6 blocks of the city and just had hundreds of people. And yeah, after an almost month-long occupation, the mayor had to shut it down because 4 shootings happened. And we don't know who did the shootings. Was it the protesters themselves? Was it other outside folks? Either way, they weren't prepared. And since the chop zone didn't allow cops, it was hard to handle the situation. So, yeah, almost a month long, and it was finally came to a close. Now, I know that many people watching, especially young people, might have different opinions on whether or not CHOP was a good thing or a bad thing. So if you want to go ahead and leave your thoughts in the comments below or in the chat, that's great. Just remember to be respectful. Different people have different opinions. All right. The NFL will play 2 anthems in an effort to recognize victims of police brutality. The NFL plans on playing Lift Every Voice and Sing before every Week 1 game. The song is known as the Black National Anthem and will be played before the Star Spangled Banner. So they're not getting rid of the Star Spangled Banner. They're just singing it next to us song before. Now, I have to be honest, I didn't know that there was such a thing as a black national anthem until I read this news. And then I immediately Googled to listen to the song. The song is beautiful. In fact, I think I've heard it before. I can't remember where. It might have been in school. I thought it was in the church hymnal. I looked it up, and it's not in the church hymnal. But it sounds very familiar. What do I personally think? Hey, I think it's great. I don't really care much for football, but this has become a controversy, like most things in America, with half the country saying it's about time, the other half saying that they're gonna boycott the NFL. I don't know why it has to be so controversial. They're not getting rid of the Star Spangled Banner. They're just adding another one. But it is what it is. Let me know what you think about this song being included. Again, be respectful to those who might have a different opinion than yours. And speaking about different opinions, the Redskins are going to change their name. Yes, on July 3rd, the team announced that they were beginning a thorough review into their team's name's controversial history. For decades, they had received scrutiny over a name that many consider offensive, and then, after several sponsors dropped the team in June, the decision was made to finally change the name. So once again, money. The team owners had always said they would never change the name, and it was what it was. And I think for a while, they passed like this resolution saying that the team manager couldn't own the property rights to the name. So they didn't change the name, but legally anybody could make Redskins merchandise. But then they appealed and they got the rights to the name back. It seems that the final nail in the coffin was the major sponsors. All of them decided, hey, we want nothing to do with your team if you don't change the name. And the logo. The logo is also being changed. So yeah, that happened. Personally, I think there's an easy way to change it without being offensive. You make the logo Redskin potatoes, maybe? I don't know. Probably not. They would still think it's offensive through association. But yeah, the team will have a new name, a new logo. We don't know what it is yet. I may report of it next time if I know and if I find it relevant. But yeah, what do you think? Well, actually, let me know again, comments. Ooh, okay, this one's kind of close to me. This past month, several big names in the Smash Brothers esports community were accused of sexual misconduct. Their victims ranged from minors and adult, male, and female. And I want you to remember it. This wasn't just a bunch of women speaking out. There were some men speaking out as well. A lot of them were minors, some not. So yeah, the victimizers also included both male and female players, commentators, and organizers. So if you're seeing here, I only have pictures of two of them. The woman in the blue hair is not a victim who came forward. She's one of the people who got accused of grooming a minor and then manipulating him into very inappropriate stuff. So this is a very interesting thing. First of all, I don't think this is the fault of the Super Smash Brothers video game, obviously, but I think it's a bigger issue is the competitive scene, because anybody can compete, right? We oftentimes refer to this as esports, but sports leagues are organized and they have a lot of red tape, whereas esports, anybody can compete. You just show up. You could be 10 years old and you show up, you play, you compete. That's how these things work. And so anybody could be there. Child molesters could be there. Murderers could be there. You don't know. And they all play and they have fun and they become friends and then they all party together. And that seems to be an important thing here, the partying, because a lot of these people that came forward about their abuse stories, it seems that most of them had one thing in common. They went to a party where alcohol was being served and they got taken advantage of. And it was crazy. There was also another factor. A bunch of them were living in the same house, both adults and minors, because someone decided to sponsor all of them. Not exactly a great idea, but yeah. It really was crazy because I love Super Smash Brothers, the video game, and I've been to tournaments, not to compete myself, but I've been there, and I've met a lot of the people who got accused, and I've shaken their hands, and it's crazy. And when I say a lot of them were accused, I mean a lot of them got accused, like a lot, including one of the main organizers for the CEO tournament in Vegas. So yeah, it is crazy just how deep it went. Like at first I just thought, okay, it's a small handful. Then I realized, okay, it's two handfuls. Then I realized it's everybody. But yeah, although overall I think it's a good thing that these allegations came out to the light, because now we can actually take steps against it. Now we can actually make security efforts to ensure that this never happens again, which is a good thing. It's unfortunate it took out this long for the people to speak out, but it's understandable. They're afraid they won't be believed, etc., etc. But yeah, for the record, most of the accused, right, they admitted it that yes, it happened. So it's not even a he said, she said. Most of them have come forward and be like, yes, I did that and I'm sorry. So yeah, let's hope this never happens again, because as of right now, the Smash Brothers community is pretty much dead. The game has had very little updates. Interest has been going down, and with the pandemic, tournaments have all been canceled. So yeah, this is kind of like the final nail in the coffin. Ooh, okay, so this one's a bit of a sad story, but I had to cover it. So, 20-year-old specialist Vanessa Guillen went missing April 22nd of this year. Before she had gone missing, she had told her family she was being harassed by a sergeant. After months of investigation and the public demanding answers, her remains were found near a river on June 30th. Aaron Robertson, a person of interest, shot himself after the police arrived to take him into custody. 22-year-old Cecily Aguilar had told police that Robertson asked him to dispose of Guillen's body, whom he killed by striking her with a hammer multiple times. So it's a messed up story. They were all in the army. For some reason, one of the people in the army decided to kill her with a hammer, and then he keeps her body locked up, and then they dispose of it. She had also told her family that she was being sexually harassed by a sergeant. I don't believe the Aaron Robinson was a sergeant, so she probably wasn't talking about him, but you never know. So yeah, now there is this huge investigation, and the people, they're outcrying, they want justice, they want to know exactly what happened so that it never happens again, because yeah, I have a big respect for the troops. They go out there and they fight for our freedoms, but then things like this are happening to our troops, by our troops, and it shouldn't be like that. Everybody who decides to serve in the military should be treated with the utmost respect. Granted, I know that the military is a hard place to be in, that they break you down as a civilian in order to raise you up, right? And that's fine. I consider that to be respectful, but people shouldn't be sexually harassed or murdered by your own comrades. I think that is something we can all agree on. Ooh, and Kanye West is running as president in 2020. And what was totally unexpected, Kanye West announced he is running for president. The announcement came out very late into the election cycle. Right now, his biggest rival in the race is time. He has very little time to get registered as a candidate in most states, as it requires a lot of paperwork, and many states require large amounts of signatures in order to place a candidate on the ballot. Now, I have a policy that we don't endorse or speak positively or negatively about any candidate. I stay neutral as so not to influence others. So for that reason, I shall reserve my thoughts on candidate running, but feel free to share yours. And it's a shame because Kanye is someone who has a very well-known presence. Like there's very little that he does that people don't speak out on, right? You either love Kanye or you hate Kanye. And every little thing, like, you will have a strong emotion about him. So obviously I want to share my emotions, but my policy is if someone's running for president, I speak neutral of them. I neither endorse them nor say negative things about them. So I'm going to reserve all my thoughts, which is a shame because yesterday for me, Sunday the 19th, he had his first campaign stop, and yeah, I have a lot to say about that, but I won't, because it goes against my policy. So what do you think about Kanye West running for president? Let me know in the chat below, because I really want to hear that. All right. The CE, the Student and Exchange Program Visitor Service. I actually didn't write anything for this. I'm sure you all heard about this. So ICE changed their Student and Exchange Visitor Program, basically saying that if you are a foreign exchange student and the school or the university that you're attending to has gone completely digital this next starting school year, you have to go back to your country. The logic is if you can just take the online classes from your country, then you don't have to be here. Now, on the one hand, it kind of makes sense. On the other hand, it creates a logistics nightmare because if the classes are a specific time over here, but over there it's nighttime, then what? They're supposed to wake up 3 to 4 in the morning to take a class? It's weird, not to mention that a lot of them have bad internet or no internet. So this was a very controversial change, and many people demanded that it be removed before it even started. And sure enough, earlier last week, it was removed. So it kind of doesn't really make sense for me to talk about it. But while it was set to happen, I felt that it was a very important thing. So again, it is repealed. It's not going to happen. What do you personally think in terms of the student exchange visitor program? What should any measures be taken in light of the pandemic or not? Okay, the red table talk. Now, normally I don't care about celebrity gossip. I really don't. I consider it dumb. But celebrities are humans. I don't worship them. I don't care, but this story seems to have broken the internet. So, an episode of Red Table Talk has gone viral after host Jada Pinkett Smith openly spoke to her husband, Will Smith, about a brief affair she had while the two were separated. Everyone has been speaking out on their personal feelings on what should or shouldn't be acceptable in a marriage, and these have been very strong opinions. Overall, it seems Jada and Will were able to bounce back their relationships and move past the affair. So, basically, they went to a rocky patch, they got separated, and while they were separated, essentially both of them ended up having an affair or hooking up with someone else. But what made it weird is that in this talk, where they're being open with each other, I should mention, they eventually got back together. In this talk, where they're being open to each other, the wife basically is talking about it in a way that doesn't really show remorse. She's just saying, hey, it happened, it's cool, whatever. Right? And that's weird, because if you're still with the person, like if you got back to a certain degree, you should, I don't know, show something. But either way, they did forgive each other, and they did move past that, which I think is a good thing. I'm not saying that affairs should always be forgiven, but if you can forgive each other, if you can work past it, I think that is a good thing. Right? To many people, the affair, that's the final nail in the coffin for the marriage. They made it work. They're still happy. So good on them. But yeah, once again, it proves that celebrities are human. And they go through some stuff, no matter how perfect that might seem. The GOYA food boycott. Okay. So an event at the White House announcing the Hispanic Prosperity Initiative, which is set forth in order to increase emphasis on the connection between educational and economic opportunities for Hispanic Americans by improving access to education. The GOYA CEO, Robert Unanue, announced that between March and April, the company had donated over 300,000 pounds of food to organizations such as soup kitchens and food pantries. I know, it sounds great, right? What's the problem? Well, it turns out that before the CEO had even begun speaking on the company's work for this program, he praised President Trump for the work he had done on this initiative and said that the United States of America was blessed to have him as a president. This statement has rubbed many Latinos the wrong way, who immediately demanded a boycott of all GOYA products. The boycott seems to be a hot topic on social media among Latinos, as many feel it's their duty to boycott the company, but others have too much loyalty to the brand. And yeah, I feel like this is a very interesting one, right? GOYA products are so ingrained into our Latino culture. I don't even know if it's possible to boycott. I mean, of course, it technically is possible to boycott them, but do Latinos really want to? Granted, many of them are offended. I get it, and they have a right to boycott. I respect that. But how many of them will actually boycott. I'm reminded of the Super Bowl. It seems like every year at the Super Bowl, someone gets offended about something, right? And it's usually over Coca-Cola. Some group gets offended over Coca-Cola, and they're like, we're not gonna buy Coca-Cola products anymore. And what happens is they don't buy it while they still have Coca-Cola in their house. Then when they run out, they wait 2 weeks, and then they go back to drinking Coca-Cola like it never even happened, right? So is a similar thing going to happen here? I don't know. Maybe. We'll have to wait and see. But I'm Latino, so I grew up on GOYA products. So I'm like, part of me is like curious, can Latinos actually give up GOYA? But the other part of me is like, I mean, the CEO gave his opinion. It's not like, I don't even know. Are we allowed to share opinions anymore? Whatever. The GOYA products are still good products. Personally, I don't really buy many GOYA products, even though I wasn't raised on them. So even I couldn't boycott them even if I wanted to, because I don't purchase them to begin with. I don't know. The whole thing just seems funny. But since I technically am the youth leader of a Spanish church, I'm assuming that most people watching are Latino. So are you guys gonna give up the GOYA foods or not? I'm kind of curious to know. Do you care about his opinions on the president? Which actually, I don't even think that he even has an opinion on the president. I think he's just polite. During the Obama administration, Michelle Obama also invited him to work on a program, and he also spoke well of the Obamas. So I think he's just being a polite guest speaker. I think that's all it was. But hey, many people feel that he crossed the line. Are you one of the people that feel that he crossed the line? If so, let me know your feelings. But again, be respectful to everybody who might have a different opinion. TikTok. The TikTok app has been very popular around the world, especially with the young people. Yet for years, many have considered it a security risk. Recently, many countries have begun to ban TikTok along with other Chinese-made apps due to security concerns. And it seems that the United States is at least considering. So yeah, this is real, people. We might see a TikTok apocalypse. Again, I personally don't care about TikTok. I don't use TikTok. I don't get it. But I know a lot of you guys do. How does that make you feel that soon TikTok may not be accessible in the United States due to security concern? Now, the whole thing is that they would ban it until China fixes it and makes it less intrusive. But that could still mean a good couple of weeks or months before you guys can use TikTok again. Now, again, TikTok is, as of this recording on Monday, July 20th, TikTok is still available in the United States, but that could change. Let me know what you think. And finally, I'm going to end on a fun note. So we've all been here during the pandemic, and a lot of us want to know when our theme park's going to open up again, right? Disney World recently opened up, but this isn't a Disney World story. No, in Japan, the Fuji-Q Highland amusement park decided that they were going to reopen, but there were a lot of concerns. What about roller coasters? As you're moving at high speeds, what your air, it goes back towards people's faces, so they could become contagious. So the people decided that they were gonna require you to wear a face mask on a roller coaster, and that you're not allowed to scream during a roller coaster. Out of those two, I found the second one hilarious because screaming is kind of the whole point of roller coaster. Now, I used to be a bit of a roller coaster buff back in my younger days, but then I got motion sickness, and now I can't go them because I puke. Don't ask. Just don't ask. But yeah. People scream on roller coasters. That's what they do. So to be asked not to scream is insane. So the people, they all got upset. So to prove a point, the executives at the Fuji-Q Highland amusement park decided to have two executives, full business suits and attire, ride the roller coaster while wear the face masks without screaming. And they recorded the whole thing. The video is on YouTube. Watch it. It's hilarious. After the video ends, it leaves us with the wise proverb, which you can see at the top of the screen. Scream inside your heart. I love that saying. Like, I'm sorry. That saying sounds... I'm going to say that from now on. Whenever I'm mad at somebody, I'm like, just scream inside your heart. Scream inside the heart. You know what I'm saying? It's just... No need to yell. You scream inside your heart. So, what do you guys think? Are people actually gonna not scream in the roller coaster? Well, doesn't really matter. because them's are the rules. Now it's time for testimonies, which again, we can't read them live because it's a recording, but do write them down, and I will, on the chat, I will address them and we'll talk, all right? But I'm just gonna go through my month, okay? So the month started off kind of fun. I got invited to 2 Zoom services. It's interesting because when I had to decide how to switch to digital for youth services, I considered Zoom, but I passed up on it. And yet I was asked to do 2 messages on Zoom. I actually did the same message, one in English and one in Spanish. The English one was for the GOYA, and the Spanish one was for a nameless service run by Ismael Uleria from Dominican Republic. So I got to speak internationally. Yay! So that happened. The message for the English one is available here on YouTube, and I can put the link for the Facebook one for the whole thing. But for the Spanish one, they unfortunately did not put the replay, so I can't show you that. It is the same message, just in Spanish. In addition to that, I also made 2 YouTube videos this month. So I made When Life Gives You Lemons, which is me talking about the first half of 2020 as a youth leader and all the crazy stuff that has gone on and how I've had to adapt. If you guys are curious about that, do check it out. It's on my page. Also, I made the recap for the local February service, which was me talking about the February service that was local. It was the only service that I didn't do digital this year. So I just go over very quickly my thoughts and the experiences about it. So if you guys were there and you want to relive it, go ahead and watch it. Or if you weren't there, you can find out what's up. All right, so this month I've been watching a series called Down to Earth with Zac Efron. I found this series very nice because it's like a documentary. It's about nature, it's about food, it's about life. And they take you all over the world and show you how they're trying to make the planet a better place. It's very good. It's not really preachy. I love it. I totally recommend it to you guys. It seems to be family friendly. I haven't run into anything inappropriate yet. So yeah, I watched a lot of that. I also watched DC Superhero Girls by Lauren Faust and The Babysitter's Club. I know. Listen, guys, don't at me. Don't, okay? Okay? I know. I'm a grown man. The show's for girls. Stop looking at me like that, okay? I know, I'm a grown man, okay? But hear me out. I love superheroes, and I was born in the 90s, so I'm aware of that. But get the smirk off your face, okay? I'm a grown... I don't need your permission. I can watch whatever I want. Don't judge me, okay? I love superheroes. And so when the DC Superhero Girls, the original version came out, it was terrible, and I thought it would be good. I actually watched a couple episodes and never got good. It was terrible. But then I heard it got rebooted by Lauren Faust, creator of the Powerpuff Girls, and I watched it, and it was actually good, and I totally recommend it. Stop judging me. I totally love the series. Not ashamed to say it. Also, Babysitter's Club happened this month, and I think that took us all of us by surprise. We didn't know they were going to make a Babysitter's Club. And I watched it, and it was, first of all, let me talk about the casting. I think that the casting was all perfect, except for one character that was tweaked a little bit, but actually 2 characters were tweaked a little bit. Everybody else was like, they got cloned from the book, which leads me to the other thing. How old are these girls? For some reason, I was imagining them to be a little older, like 14, yet they look 10? Or 9? How old are these kids? Why is it okay to call these... they need a babysitter. You know what I'm saying? Like, they need a babysitter. I wouldn't want them babysitting my kids. Whatever. Anyway, so the first few episodes were pretty faithful to the books, but then it starts getting weird. I also have to mention the books took place in the 80s, 90s, and the series takes place in modern days, so 2020, and yet they dress like they're in the 80s, and they use a landline, and a lot of this show would make a lot more sense if they just said it took place in the 80s. I don't understand why they try to make it take place in modern times when everything about the show seems to still take place in the 1980s. It's weird, I know. Because, you know, whatever. So because it takes place in the 2020, a lot of them considered advertising themselves online, which I was like, no, do not advertise yourselves as little girls to go to people's house for money to watch kids. That's just bad. But yeah, don't judge me, okay? I watched Zac Efron's Down to Earth. I can watch some Babysitter's Club. Don't judge me. You don't know me. Okay, so video game wise, what did I play this month? I actually got to play a lot of stuff. Got to play Splatoon 2, got to play Alien Quest, Super Metroid, Dweller's Empty Path, and The Escapist 2. And out of those 5 games, I only cleared 2 of them. Splatoon 2 amazing game, loved it. Great sequel to the original. And Super Metroid, which is still a classic. I played that when I was 14. Played it again. Loved it. Loved every second of it. The other three I'm still playing and planning on getting through it, but I haven't really had much time. But one big accomplishment in video games for me this month was that I finally 100% completed Ring Fit Adventures. I did all of it, okay? You see that? I can do physical things with my body because I'm a grown man that watches Babysitter's Club. Don't judge me, okay? I can do stuff. I don't need your permission. I can do what I want. And lastly, as far as cooking and what I cooked this month I should say, I started off with a vegan shepherd's pie. Actually, everything I made this month happened from excess from food donations, like food pantries. I had a lot of instant mashed potatoes and canned vegetables, so I made a vegan shepherd's pie, which raises the question, what do you call a vegan shepherd's pie? A farmer's pie? A gardener's pie? What? What do you call it? I don't know. I made some cupcakes with blueberries and farina. I have a lot of blueberries over, and a lot of farina or cream of wheat left over. Instant pot brown rice and instant pot beans. Again, I have a lot of this, all the dry stuff from food pantries, so I've been using it, and some pressure cooked steel cut oats with, again, blueberries because I have a lot. And yeah, so that's just been me cooking this month. And this is the end, but before I end it, I guess if people left down their prayer request or their testimonies, now would be a good time to pray or acknowledge them. But I don't know because I'm still Monday, so I'm gonna give myself in the chat room a minute to address and to do a quick little prayer. All right, I'm gonna give you a minute. All right, and with that said, I think we're done. Before I sign out, let you know that down here underneath the slideshow, there should be like a link that pops up, like a little thing. That is for a playlist where I'm putting all of the digital youth services together. So if you guys want to go back to memory lane, or if you miss one of them, you can watch them just by clicking that right there. And then below my face, there should just be a random video. You can ignore that one. But that one right there, I feel, if you guys want to watch the rest of these together, back to back, whatever, go ahead and give it a click. And with that said, thank you very much for watching. I will see you all in August for our digital youth service. Thank you and God bless.